On October 1st, 1960, Nigeria gained full independence from the United Kingdom on the basis of a federal constitution, with 3 large states having a weak central government over them. Nnamdi Azikiwe replaced the colonial governor, James Wilson Robertson, in November 1960, and Queen Elizabeth II remained head of state for the time being. 3 years later, in 1963, Nigeria received a new constitution. Nigeria became a republic. The British system of government was retained. Abubakar Tafawa Balewa became Prime Minister and Nnamdi Azikiwe became the President. On 15 January 1966, 6 majors, including 5 Igbo, staged a coup. The conspirators assassinated 22 leading politicians, ministers, and military officers, including the head of government, Balewa, and the prime ministers of the North and Southwest, Bello and Akintola. Among the 22 victims was only 1 Igbo, although according to later statements, the coup plotters were not pursuing ethnic goals but wanted to strike at the heart of a backward state which was dominated by the North. Following the violent death of Prime Minister Balewa, Parliamentary President Orizu, an Igbo, transferred government power to the army chief, Aguiyi Ironsi, also an Igbo. With his first degree, Ironsi abolished the constitution and freedom of the press and dissolved parliament. Remaining ministers were forced to resign, and from then on, the head of state ruled by means of directives issued by his staff. Ironsi abolished the 3 federal states and made Nigeria a unitary state for the first time, a country in which all laws, all taxes, etc. applied equally everywhere without regional variations. Nigeria was to be forced to progress by directives, so to speak. This was inevitably viewed badly in the backward North. In addition, the military government was reluctant to take actions against Igbo involved in the coup. Ironsi was Igbo himself and used the more highly educated Igbo in the North to implement the supposedly progressive decisions of the central government on the ground. For other ethnic groups, it must have seemed as if the Igbo wanted to take over the country.
In the regions, there will be military governments under a military governor, assisted by an advisor who is the last person to hold the office of the regional governor. The normal function of government in each region will be carried on by the permanent secretaries in the region, and they will be directly responsible to the military government there. The regional military governments are directly responsible to the head of the federal military government and the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Public corporations and other statutory bodies, such as local government, will continue to function under the appropriate ministries. All existing laws, regulations, orders, and official instructions remain in force, wherever applicable, until either modified or abrogated by the federal military government.
Will there be press censorship during this regime?
I do not think that I should start off with press censorship. But I may impose censorship if it became necessary. My main concern is to restore law and order as soon as possible.
On 29 July 1966, soldiers staged a coup in Abeokuta in the southwest and murdered Aguiyi Ironsi, who was visiting nearby Ibadan. Pogroms against the Igbo broke out across the country, with sources claiming 30,000 victims, mostly children. In this situation, the coup plotters appointed Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon as the new military and state leader and reintroduced federalism. Gowon did not belong to any of the three predominant ethnic groups and was confronted with the task of keeping the three divergent parts of his country and ethnic groups together and putting an end to the pogroms. Under these circumstances, it seems unlikely that Yakubu Gowon's rule would last comparatively long. However, one of the worst humanitarian disasters of modern times occurred during this period, the Biafra War.
All foreigners in Nigeria are assured of their personal safety and should have no fear of being molested. We shall continue with vigor the policy of providing a climate conducive and attractive to foreign investors. They are assured of the protection and goodwill of my government. Well, I think as I've said it already, I know it is quite a gigantic task, but I think personally that there is nothing impossible for a young man to do. I think once at least he's got, good level-headedness, good advisors around him, I think he will be able to carry his job quite all right.
Why?
I think I've also explained this in my broadcast. I think it is a dangerous move. I personally, sincerely believe it is a dangerous move. You are more or less giving a license to the disintegration of the country. Once, and this is my honest belief, once you start accepting consideration on the terms which have been suggested by various members of the ad hoc committee, and as we saw being expanded from in one part of the country and the other, you're more or less saying that, well, you chaps, we better go our own way. And certainly, once we start that, we will have four countries, without any, without certainly knowing that we have imposed on ourselves, the question of division, just like that. That's why I do not believe in the question of confederation. I think Nigeria would be better off if we remain together. I believe that for the present, hard feeling because of what has happened since the beginning of the year would only it's a temporary thing. It's bound to pass. Every wound heals. So instead of us accepting a position we shall find ourselves whereby we accept to divide ourselves. It is better that we do not consider that the system at all, and keep on working towards a stable federation.
Could I ask you, sir, one question as a soldier? Do you believe that Nigeria can in the future have one army after the events in the recent months?
Definitely. I'm quite convinced of that.
Which leads on to the final question, I think, sir. Do you believe that Nigeria can stay together as one country?
I believe that very, very strongly.
Some months after the death of Major Ironsi, on January 1967, the state organized a funeral for the late officer. His remains were brought to Enugu and buried with a full honor. And that is what you find in your screen. share your view on this phenomenon with regards to these military coups in West Africa. I would like to hear your comment on these military coups in West Africa.